Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Katie, and this is the Reading Nook and Magic podcast.
And today we are talking about Crave by Tracy Wolff.
We're going to be meeting her in person in October. We're the official podcast for a book festival in the Hudson Valley called Spellbound in the Valley. So her, along with many other authors and vendors, are going to be there, and it's going to be really fun, and we're so excited and nervous, really, because we're going to interview, hopefully, a lot of the authors ahead of time, and it's the biggest thing. It's the only event we've ever done.
Yeah, very first one. Lots of authors, lots of big things.
Yeah, fear of the unknown a little bit, but a little imposter syndrome.
Yeah, it's normal, but it's so exciting.
It is. It's gonna be a good time. So this is, book one of the series. Overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was a good, relatively easy read. It's been a while since I've read a young adult sort of book, so that's why. There's really something nice about it. You're involved, you get connected, but it's not too deep. There's not a ton of triggers. Like, it's not like
right. Well, especially being
dark.
A parent, both of our children are into adolescence and young teenagers, and I'm not minimizing the feelings of teenagers and young adults. However, we're kind of cresting the hump on the other side.
Yeah.
Where it's a little different in, middle age. Are we middle-aged? Third-aged people?
Third-aged. According to you, right?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Third-aged.
I'm technically, I think I'm halfway, but...
You're only going to be 80?
I don't know. How do we know?
That's unacceptable to me.
I don't know what the right answer is. You never know.
It's true. Well, we're just going to go with third-aged.
Sure.
My point being is it's real, it's potent. There's a youthful lightness to it. Even though, she's burdened with real pain and trauma. First time you fall in love, it's that. So there's something youthful and...
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yes.
I think just the more we deep dive the romantasy genres and they start focusing on the triggers and these darknesses and things like that, if I read this maybe when I was a kid, it would be all of the things that these current books are. But it's almost like I'm a little too jaded at this point.
Yeah.
So this is like light, easy reading.
That's what I mean. Yeah, not light in the terms of the subject matter, because there's some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Just looking at it from the lens of a 36-year-old. That's I guess what I was going for, I actually told my daughter, she's 11, and I don't know,
she could read it.
Yeah, I was like, you should definitely read it. I think you would enjoy it.
I wish my daughter read. That's fine.
We'll get there.
All right, so Goodreads. It has a 3.77 star rating, 241, almost 242,000 ratings, and 26,850 reviews. I feel like I hadn't stumbled upon this till the Spellbound.
I didn't have it, to be truthful, on my my TBR list, but I do remember seeing the cover, ironically, because it did remind me of Twilight. So I do remember seeing this cover.
At Page and Petals, or?
I don't know if it was online, on the internet, or in Barnes & Noble. I always go to the fantasy section first, just because it's fun and it makes me happy. I don't know where, but I do remember, it's very, very similar in the cover, stylistically, with the black and grays and the red and the blood.
There's lots of things with Twilight, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of parallels I draw to Twilight. This one, probably more so than most. 3.77. To what we were talking about, I think if I was a teenager, I would rate it higher.
Okay.
I think it has all of that excitement, and, the story has a good twist in the end. I'm going to say 4.
That's what I put.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't really ready for a 6-book series, so I think I was only so connected to it because I was going to move on after it. I feel like I could go back and read them all. I liked it enough to do that. But yeah, I gave it a 4.
Yeah, solid. Definitely worth reading for sure. So you, in the notes, had written it's kind of like your typical vampire love story?
For me, being a vampire noob, kind of, like, it didn't veer off from, like, what I have read. So it was, like, pretty typical. Yeah, as expected. The obsessive.
Yeah.
Second I see you, all consuming.
Well, so that was, like, a little bit better than what we had just read previously, as far as, like, the vampire obsessiveness in Serpent in the Winds of Night with Rain. Like, him, but it wasn't really that vampire vibe.
It was still human-y.
It was like human that's sort of like a vampire versus like vampire that's trying to be human. Like it was, you know what I'm saying?
He was still a human character.
Yeah, well, so interesting. In this one, there's two different like types of vampires. There's the ones that were made, and then the Jackson is apparently some sort of aristocrat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like an original vampire, which it kind of makes sense for him to be more powerful and have more strength and stuff. Ironically, I'm kind of already going off on a tangent here, but like so Jackson is so strong and powerful and has telekinesis and all of that, which was nice and refreshing and very vampire-esque. However, Leah, I feel like didn't really give vampire vibes. The fact that measly old Grace could fight her in any way, in any capacity, even though she was tired in the end. Now we're dropping all the way to the end. It just didn't feel like she was fighting a vampire. Like, you can't fight a vampire. She wouldn't need to carry her by her hair. She could just literally pick her up with one hand if it, like, true vampire strength. So that was the only thing about that. I don't even know if I'm gonna, it's just like, it stayed true-ish, but it had its own little spin.
Yeah. Doesn't always have to be rigid, right? We always talk about how these books end up being very similar, like the history of witches end up sounding very similar, and I think we like that because it starts to make sense to us and it starts to feel real, but there's no reason why it can't veer off. It can't have a different tale, or like, you know, like one human can be stronger than another human, so maybe it's okay that a vampire is not as strong as another vampire, or if she was made and not born, that she would have less strength or her abilities are different. I don't know. I don't know what she is, but
and who knows how drained she is, because there is a lot of that continuity through a bunch of stories that as they're drained, they lose a lot of blood, or they expend a lot of power, or they expend a lot of energy, that they are in a weakened state. But I just remember thinking, like, it wasn't the whole scene, but it was like the climax of the story.
But this reminds me of this. And again, jumping to the end, so okay, who cares, whatever. But she's like, a problem that's compounded by the fact that I'm also still bleeding from my wrists, my ankles, my fingers, and now my arms, where the dragon was holding me. And oh yeah, I'm being stalked by a crazy-ass vampire with ritualistic murder in her eyes. And here I thought Alaska would be boring. And like, so if the human is bleeding from every extremity and can still fight.
And so that's what I was saying. It was just like, and then there was the part where like the dragon is carrying her, and this was perfect for like vampire, that he was staying higher so that she couldn't jump up to them, but then struggled to carry her by her hair. Do you know what I'm saying? So it just is the carrying by the hair thing, but it's fine. It just lost me for a second, just for a little tiny little baby second.
Yeah. Well, we all know how seriously she takes her vampires.
I do take my vampires very seriously.
So that's not your fault, Tracy.
No. Oh my God, please. It's not. It's really not. This is a me problem. This is a me problem.
Okay, so I guess maybe you can help me with how I feel about the main love interest being like a little too immediate. There was really it was young adult, right? So there wasn't really a lot of sex or anything like that. But serious fatal attraction. I Can't Breathe Without You was like too fast and like unbelievable for me. Like where I was like,
Yeah. I think it maybe is intentional because there is so many parallels, and thankfully Tracy acknowledges that, and we'll talk about when she pokes fun at the Twilight parallels. I think I filled in the gaps from my previous understanding of that book, so I'm sorry, but like I just felt Edward meets Bella, and her scent is so similar to like Faye, right? Your scent is so overpowering, and your blood's so delicious that it just calls to you. That's like the first pull, right? And it's significant enough that it catches your attention. So it becomes a superficial attraction that's overwhelming and all-consuming. I believe that's my
She's a vampire. She really is a vampire. I suppose, from what I've heard.
It's my understanding.
Okay. Yeah, that was okay.
But her interest in him, it was obvious, right? Who was the guy? I was like, all right, well, there he is. Which is, I'm sure it's intentional. Like, there it is. There's a pull. They're the apex predator in the world where vampires exist. There's no one that's more enticing. There's no one that can, everything about them, their smell, the way they look, they're perfect. They're made and yes. So if he is hyper fixated on her, then like I don't even know if she has a choice to not.
Mixed with being the hottest guy in school.
Who doesn't think he's hot?
Yeah. Stupid. One thing I do want to talk about is how does her cousin and her uncle like not tell her she's in a school of witches, vampires, and dragons? Like, we're just gonna bring you here and try to keep it a secret.
Well, they do. So I read through her. She was the most studious one. This episode has all the notes. I was gonna write back to you like in the notes, and I was like, I'll just talk to you about it when we film. But they do touch on that they were going because when
all of these things kept happening. Like first she got hurt here, then she got hurt here. Somebody was trying to kill her from the very beginning. Like I know things like got in the way, but like wouldn't you like before you got to the school be like, hey Grace, there's something I gotta tell you.
I agree. And also, how could you ever hide that forever? Like, you're not going to be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it did seem like, if anything, maybe those instances would make you want to tell her more so she at least has some awareness of what.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that goes into, like, my point of being there's, like, a lot of unanswered questions for me because obviously it got super complicated in the end where you have to read the rest of them. And maybe this was just a really long intro to something that will make more sense down the road.
I think probably definitely. I think it got really that twist at the end. Like they just touched on it.
Yeah. I still think it's so fascinating in these stories where in certain stories, humans remain blissfully unaware always. And these, in witches, vampires are all like existing like in and around us and we refuse to see it or believe it or whatever. And then in this instance, same with her. Like she went through her whole life not knowing anything about other creatures, and here there's like a whole school and it actually is like worldwide. It's just crazy. Like, are we blinded to it? Or
I mean, I think it's totally possible. You know, like the movie The Sixth Sense isn't that part of the premise is that children see it because adults are trained themselves not to. It's like it's like a sixth sense that you ignore so long that you like are atrophied in that muscle. I mean,
I want to unlearn.
Yeah, literally. But like, do you come into this earth? It's interesting because I never, again,
I like when Katie says, you know what, this is interesting.
Well, it is interesting. When I held my daughter for the first time, I was brought up Irish Catholic. So like none of this.
This is not allowed.
We
didn't have this conversation.
No, like my mom got rid of Halloween in my freaking school. Yes, she doesn't listen to these whole episodes. She literally wrote a letter to the principal and the priest of the school. I went to Catholic school that we should be celebrating because it's All Hallows Eve. So All Saints Day is the next day. So she said that our Halloween parade should really be an All Saints Day celebration. We should all dress up as our favorite saints and got Halloween taken out of the school. And everyone hated me. They're like, what did your mom do? And I was like, I don't know.
Why did everyone know it was her?
It was a small school. Here's where I was going with that. Okay, so yeah, growing up in that cultural world, I didn't have a lot of experience with this. I was taught to be afraid of anything that's not, of God or in the Bible or any of that stuff. So reincarnation and things like that never even didn't cross my mind. However, I held my daughter for the first time and immediately felt like she was piercing my soul and had been here before. And I swear on everything that it never crossed my mind until I held her in the hospital. And I was kind of freaked out by it a little bit because I was like, this is my baby. That was not the thought I was expecting to have.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. But then, you shut it out. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm open to the possibility of it now. I'm not closed-minded, but it does seem a little far-fetched. But why is it far-fetched? Is it really far-fetched, or is that just, again, culturally imposed on us and, too scary, or...
I choose to believe it's real.
Yeah, you definitely believe it's real.
All of it. It's so funny when you say that. You know what's interesting is you always, always, always have something very profound to say after that. It's like your own special segment.
I can't do it on command right now. There's a going through my head. So, got to catch it while it's coming.
Yeah, true.
So, speaking of all that, let's just get the Twilight shit out of the way. So, all the parallels from Twilight. So, being a huge Twilight fan, which I'm sure a lot of you were.
And I don't think I read it. So
we're got to get her. I'm going to read her favorite series. I wouldn't say Twilight's my favorite series today, but it was my favorite forever. So, you have to read it too. So, we will be doing Twilight, people. Okay. Like it or not.
Okay. There's so much to read.
It's fine. It'll take you 5 minutes to read it.
How many books are there?
5. But it's very young adult. It's very quick. It's quick. The spacing's big. It's fine.
Large font.
It's fine. Right from the first page, they're going to Denali, Alaska. And there's a clan of...
in Twilight?
A coven. That's her cousins. The Cullens are the family that Bella's goes into, and then they have family in Denali. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. So then they talk about that. And there's Alaska.
Okay.
Yeah. So when she finally referenced it and he handed her, I laughed out loud that he handed her the Twilight book, because I was like, and Macy cracked up too. It was my favorite part of the whole book, actually, because I was like, thank God, because it had to be referenced. She had to have drawn inspiration from it. I'm excited to ask her about it. Hopefully we'll get a chance to interview her.
There's little things throughout the whole book that just sort of make me laugh that I think are just author little...
Yeah, she almost...
when she says, right, when exactly did I become the heroine in some YA romance? New girl swooning over the hottest, most unattainable boy in school? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
You're funny.
I'm excited to, read more of her work, and just, I appreciated it. Because that's, my personality. You have to. It's so
bring
obvious.
Attention to the
thing everyone's probably thinking.
Yeah.
You have to, right? You have to address it. And there's nothing wrong with it. And addressing it made it that much more enjoyable for me. I was like, okay, fine.
Really did like her inner dialogue about her crush with him, and all the little things happening. I could feel her anxiety, and it actually brought me back to that place. It was just so real. The stuff she was thinking, it was so silly, but so real. And not having felt it for 25 years, it was oh my gosh, I remember, and I never want to go back there again. That.
Yeah, that awkward,
that's the inner dialogue was so on point with how we, oh, he touched my hand. Did he mean to touch my hand? Does he like me? I don't know. Maybe
I'm still like that. So.
I think we all are to a point, but when it's new and
when it's the first time, it's a big deal.
Now, we can we have enough to assimilate things to make it make sense. But when it is the first time, or your first crush or something like that, you're okay, I don't know how to organize and compute this. What does this mean? How do I not make a fool of myself?
Yeah, what is happening?
Yeah.
I guess he's not totally nice. He's a little bit standoffish.
Well, he plays hard to get, essentially.
He's this is so dangerous. It is so much. It is so much.
Or then he walks into the cafeteria or the dance or whatever that first event was, and doesn't even look at her.
And eats the strawberry very dramatically, which I didn't really get. There's probably symbolism to that, but I don't know. She's
I feel like it gets talked about, but I don't remember.
He said he did it for effect or something like that, but I guess it's confusing. Did he save me? Did he not? What was interesting was that Flint made her, well, we find out that he was trying to kill her, but he didn't really want to. So it kind of does all make sense. But when she first went in the dungeon section with him and she was that was actually pretty moving, like emotionally.
I could feel it. I was like, run, something's wrong, go.
Something, definitely get the fuck out of there. Like, and he was being so kind about it.
But then you couldn't tell if it was like him or Leah. Like they both showed up in some capacity, and you're like, wait, which one? I don't know if I like either one. I
never trusted Leah. I thought it was way weird. I'm like, why is she so rude to Macy? Why is she so connected to her? It was all my red flags went up.
Yeah.
Like that fake girl that's just no good.
True.
We know who we're talking about right now. But you know, if you're an intuitive person, or even if you're not an intuitive person and you're getting an overwhelming visceral response to a situation, you should probably just like believe it. And I wonder how many people like actually die because they don't listen to that. For example, I tell my kids, like if someone comes up to you in the store or in public and they're too close to you, just scream. And they're like, well, what if it's a good person and they just were like reaching for the apple juice? I'm like, or whatever, you know, like tying their shoe. Okay, well, if it's a good person, then they'll feel bad that they made you feel uncomfortable and walk away. Mm-hmm. And if it's a bad person, you might have just saved your life. So like it's a win-win, right? And we all try to be nice and kind and polite, but like she should have probably screamed and said like, let me out of here.
Yeah. When you're in this new school and no one's being nice to you and no one's talking to you, but he's the one person that is, it's hard.
Right. And her cousin kind of vouched that he was really nice too.
Yeah. But yeah, following your intuition, right? We did that with Arizona. like when warning bells go off, like I don't think we listen to our intuition enough, and
I'm proud of us that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of moments, I think. The same thing happened with signing Charlie up for a different school. I was like, immediately I said no, and then I almost simultaneously like was hit with like a knowing, I guess. Not really a feeling, more of a knowing. I'm like, no, she's actually going to do this. I didn't know for another 6 months, but like it is what happened. So like there is, I don't know.
You got to listen. We just had that happen. She just talked about it. We had a work trip that we were going to go on, and I guess it's not really going to be old news by the time we release this, but Newark Airport had all of these issues. We didn't know about them yet, but we
were 2 weeks before. I was like, Katie, doesn't feel right.
Right.
Like, this doesn't feel aligned.
I'm like, we already paid for it. We're just going to go. But I also just didn't want to didn't want to have told her, hey, let's do this trip, and then be the one to flake. So I was like pushing through it, even though I felt the same way. We both
pushed through. We both didn't listen and pushed through. And then everything
started to spiral.
We manifested
other
chaos.
companion's kid gets sick. I really don't want to go. I realized that like it's maybe not in alignment with exactly where like our careers are going. And then all the stuff happened at Newark Airport, and we were like, no.
It worked out.
Yeah.
So even when you don't listen, sometimes the universe will still conspire to save you.
Push you in the right direction. Yeah. I mean, nothing ended up happening to the people that went, and it was great, but I feel like when I listen to myself, I'm usually happy that I did.
Yeah, I don't think that anything bad would have, like, especially looking back, like, nothing bad would have happened. It just wasn't the right thing for us to do. Mm-hmm. And saved us money.
No, money that we could dump into this. Because we love you guys so much.
Yeah. We think you like us, too.
Sometimes.
Maybe. One of the quotes where she was talking about, like, just one of those things where, you know, we feel like we connect with the people and what they're feeling. Like I said, her inner dialogue was so relatable. The quote that was like, the last seems like major overkill, considering the fury I sense between them, but I tend to either clam up or babble when I'm nervous. So all in all, it's not a terrible performance, or at least that's what I'll tell myself as I turn and start walking away as fast as I can without actually running. That was when Jackson and Leo were having their argument, like outside.
Oh yeah.
And she's just standing there like,
dude, that's you.
I'm like, okay.
You just said I'm like, because I whenever there's like, and not that I don't have my own awkward moments, because I definitely do, but I do think of you often when someone's like overwhelmed with awkwardness, because I'm like, Steph's got to feel like that sometimes.
All the time. I mean, it happened to me today at the gym. Like, I had my coffee cup, and like there's like a there's a lot of people and there's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm still getting over the anxiety of being at the gym by myself, imposter syndrome, do I know what I'm doing, whatever. And like, so I put my coffee cup down somewhere and it's like in the way of the Smith machine going all the way down. And I'm like, how do I place it? Like, how am I that awkward that I place it in the one space that it's not going to let the bar go all the way down? Like, what? And then I go to like, I move it right out. Then I go to another machine carrying my coffee cup and I set it down. And then like, more people start coming around, like the machines all around me. And then I went to like get my phone and I like spilled my coffee all over the floor. Like these are like very awkward, like, and then like it took 17 paper towels to clean it up because it's the crappy Planet Fitness paper towels. And it just
the fact that you're worse. Walking around the gym with a coffee cup though, like.
But it's so early and I still need the caffeine.
It's not
It's like
hydrating.
the pre-workout.
I guess.
Except during workout.
It's really funny to me.
But,
and then what'd you do? Did you totally shut down?
Because like the headphones are in and the music is loud enough, I can kind of pretend that the rest of it's not. I just went about my business. I cleaned up my coffee, went back to the machine, finished my sets, went on to the next machine, and like nobody's looking at me.
Nobody cares.
Gives a shit. Like, but yeah, but it's just like the awkward things. Like, what? Like, why does everything have to be so awkward?
Because when you get in your head, that's when
the limbs don't work, the thoughts don't work, the mouth doesn't work. When things don't work, it's like, what?
I mean, there's very few
39 years old. I should have my shit together.
I mean, depending on the situation, it can happen too. It's not a pleasant feeling. It's very uncomfortable when you can't think and you're just literally living your whole world, which debatably is what existence is. But like your whole world is inside your head and then you could just like spiral.
Yeah. And nobody has any idea what's happening because their perspective is their perspective. They're worried about themselves, their sets. They're not even like...
No.
It's just interesting. Perspective and perception is fascinating.
Yes. We've been speaking about that a lot in not even in regards to the books we're reading, just in life in general. But it does apply to this. And what we're talking about with her is her inner dialogue and it was wrong about a lot of the people and the characters. Yeah. And how often are we all wrong? Because in the absence of communication or honest communication, or even maybe it is honest communication, but it's just lack of awareness from the other person. Like they may think they're communicating what is, but they could be lying to themselves. They could not be self-aware. They could be mentally. It's just like there's so many variables. And then we create the story and we fill in the blanks, like I just talked about, to make it make sense based on my perception. Mm-hmm. Is that what Tracy intended? I don't know.
Yeah. It is fascinating. Because, like, even if I was a phenomenal communicator and I told you everything that I needed to say and the way I needed to say it, it doesn't matter because it matters what mood you're in. Are you distracted? Are you hearing it? Like, what do you need to hear from me? Because that's what you're going to hear. You're going to hear what you need to hear from me, not what I actually said. And Fascinating.
It's kind of scary, actually. I don't really like it.
I mean, it's dangerous. Like, how much time do we spend stressing out about conversations or relationships or just like anything at all? How much time do we spend in the wrong about something that wasn't even happening?
Right. I don't know. I think I've been two different personality types where I do remember obsessing, and sometimes I do. Like, I just told you when I met someone the other day, and I was like, oh, was that joke stupid? And I'm in my head about it. And, everyone has those moments where you wake up in the middle of the night and you, like, have a cringeworthy moment where you just, like, I can't believe I did that 20 years ago.
That joke was this morning, by the way.
Oh, which one?
The pharmacy one? Or are you talking about a different one?
No, that one. Oh, God. That was such a hit and a miss. I'm like at the pharmacy and I'm like, I had to pick up 3 scripts. And I was like, yeah, said my birth date and my name. And I'm like, lots of drugs. And like, it was just dead silent. The guy was like, I was like, all right. Well, I have to stand here for another 5 minutes. So
it's a good thing you're on the phone with me anyway.
Oh my God. I probably would have made it worse. I probably would have kept going. Just going somewhere with this. Oh, what's happening? Da, 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 da. So I don't really obsess about what's happening anymore. But as as much as I used to. So I can't really, I don't really do this as much. But I do have immense anxiety about not being understood to the people that I care about.
Mm-hmm. Like you really want them to
I really want you to know where I'm coming from, because I think I'm an intense person and I could be taken a lot. I know I can, because people tell me all the time, like, if I didn't know you, I think you hate me. And I'm like, oh, I don't really want to come across that way, because I feel like there's this whole other aspect of me that's like really generous and loving and empathetic, but I have like a bit of a hard exterior sometimes. I don't know. I just think it's important because I just want to live in truth. And I think I wear my complex personality on my sleeve. And so for other people that maybe aren't as extroverted, and like, it's important to me that they understand that it's really hard to explain what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I get what you say. I can't really. It's just the simple way is, and it's a very common theme, is people really just want to be seen and they want to be heard. So basically they want to be understood. It's all we want from other people. Do you understand me? Do you see me? Do you feel me? Mm-hmm. Very much the running theme. It's a problem. It's what people feel when people feel unseen, right? Like that's a huge issue in society.
And interpersonal relationships with your kids, relationships with your partners. But then, like, kind of circling back to what we were just talking about, can you ever really be seen? Because I feel like you see me. Like, I feel like you guys see us to a point. Like, you're here with us. We're interacting.
It goes back to the other person, unfortunately. So, like, one, you have to do the work to, like, be okay with not being seen and understood.
Right.
Are you operating the way you feel like you should be? Do you understand yourself? Because that's really the only person that matters. Because most of the time we're all overstimulated, overwhelmed, notification overload. Like,
distracted,
we're everywhere.
Yeah, all of it.
That, like, there's so many times where, like, people will talk to me and, like, there's literally nothing. Like, you did not get a reaction because I wasn't on this planet at the moment. And that's just...
it's
so
just
many
life
people go,
to a point.
Yeah, so it's like, maybe it's not... I mean, we have moments of understanding and seeing each other, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I try. I think I do. But it's like, do you ever really... Like, can you even know? That was totally like a tangent that maybe wasn't related to this book, but I can pull it back to the book, to the beginning, when she sees the scar on Jackson's face and she projects onto him this whole story. She's like, oh my God, he must have been so... Okay, so he ended up being in pain, and it ended up being really painful, but it could have just been like a dragon sliced his face, you know? And she just met him and she didn't know anything about him, and she created this entire story and all this pain, and being not somewhat, I am an empathetic person. I'm just a fighting empathetic person. So like...
Savage empath.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. A Bane witch, right?
Yeah.
Like, she just projected... I actually talked to you about this. I just remember being like, that's so interesting. She made this whole story about him and then connected with him even more and had like all this empathy for him and wanted him to feel attractive. And it was her thoughts. Like, he didn't share any of that till the end of the book. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even quite what she thought it would be anyway. Remember, she's like, that's not even what I was...
She was trying to humanize him in a way that she could connect to him. Like, she had to create the connection.
Maybe to justify the insatiable pull that was there. Mm-hmm. But I just thought that was interesting.
Way to bring it full circle, Katie.
Yeah. The talent of the author to be able to bring those parts of human experience.
And then she says, asshat. When Jackson says, everyone answers to me eventually. And she's like, oh my God, what an asshat.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't write the page number, but...
That is annoying. He is a little arrogant. I mean, I guess rightfully so. We realize as the story progresses, but a lot of that, he's just not that into you movie vibe where, does he like me? Does he not? He pulled my hair. He's mean to me. Yeah. But he tried to save me. Does he like me? You know, which we've been talking about. It's like every girl can really, I think, I'm assuming from my perception that every girl can relate to that feeling.
Way to be politically correct.
Yeah, try sometimes. I guess what I didn't realize about vampire books, or vampire lore, I should say,
There's something you didn't know?
Well, I mean, I knew that there was a lot of like forever bonding and mating, but I didn't realize it was like a fated, like the fated bonds that we talk about.
Like before she was born, that was already their destiny.
Well, yeah. So you were talking about the thing that you left in the library, and it said, "I waited for you. I dreamt of you." I didn't realize it was so common for vampires. I don't know why. I guess it's always been there. It's just not maybe the terminology that I was familiar with. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a noob in some ways compared to. I didn't realize there was so much fated bonding in vampires.
Is it elsewhere?
In the Blood and Ash, I mean, they are essentially vampires, right? The Atlanteans are
they're
vampires. I don't know. I just didn't realize it was. I didn't know that was.
Yeah, that was thing. Like, who did that Clint sketch remind you of when you bought it? Because he had it in his room, and he said you, and the answer came fast and honest. I just didn't know it yet.
Yeah. So that was like maybe just a moment for me that like it is in like it has been around. I just didn't.
Is there any in Twilight?
Well, they stay together forever once they pick their partner for the most part.
That's just a mate.
Yeah, I mean, I just
fated.
It didn't. Yeah.
No.
But she smells so good to him, so I guess maybe it's implied. I don't know. I need to know. I need to know everything about vampires. I wish there was like
vampire school.
Yeah, I would go. I'm so bummed. Like, I used to have such a nerd, the sharpest canines, and they're like getting dull. Like, they're not really sharp anymore. My son has the best canines. Like, he legit looks like a vampire. It's like a complete, like, triangle.
I could see you getting the implants. Like, I feel like there's subtle ones.
There is.
Your lip just got stuck on it.
You saw that? Yeah, it's there, but it's not.
The more you talk about it, that'll grow.
The manifest fangs.
Start filing your teeth.
People do that. I'm not that. I don't think I'm. Not that it's crazy. I just don't think I'm that committed. Liar. We just love the strong guys, man. Jackson's strong, right? Is that what it's all about? We just want the strongest guy.
The strongest
most
powerful.
Guy. Gave me some Reese vibes when she said, because if I've learned nothing else in the time that I've been here, it's that Jackson Vega kneels for no one. And here he is kneeling in front of me like it's the most natural thing in the world. It was when she heard her.
Saved that quote.
Yeah, I do like it.
When the strong man could be submissive to
his woman. Yeah. And I really do appreciate the alpha, even though I know it's trending on the internet right now, that alpha's not real and da-da-da-da, like, don't come at me. There's alphas and packs and animals and from all time. There's an alpha type characteristic of a male, let's say. Mm-hmm. And I do appreciate that traditional masculinity to a point. Obviously, it can get toxic like anything else. Women have created what we're looking for, and that they can have all those things. They can be strong. They can be dangerous. Men are dangerous, right? The whole barren man thing in the woods, would that be all over the internet for months and months and months if men weren't dangerous? Men are dangerous.
Yeah.
But as long as you feel safe, I guess it's okay. Don't send this to your daughters. I don't know if that was good advice.
Well, no, I think that's the deep down wish, right? Is a partner. Doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be man, right? Like the partner who is strong and can, again, wording is so difficult, but like a partner who can take care of you, is willing to take care of you, not that you need it and not that they're controlling, but like
they're capable of it.
Yeah. But then they bend to you. Like they
I like that they bend to you.
Like like a true partnership. So that's what we crave. Like there's yin and yang, right? And then, but how they come together.
Yeah, I was just giving relationship advice because that's something I should do. And I was talking about how I felt in a lot of scenarios in my life where it was just me doing the bending. Mm-hmm. Even though I am such a strong personality, like maybe more so in maybe friendships, but more so romantic relationships. And how it's okay to bend. I don't mind bending. I don't mind kneeling either.
Yeah.
As long as when I'm the one in need, there's a that it's reciprocated.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. You know, if men could just be written by women, I would be a happier gal here. And I just said gal for the first time, so.
Ever.
And I'll never say it again. Yeah, but overall, good book. Worth reading. We talked about it longer than I thought we did, so I will probably finish the series.
At some point, I could see finishing it.
Yeah. I think the story is going to get better. Mm-hmm. I think this was, and especially if she knew, I mean, I don't know if she knew it was going to be a series. I feel like you usually typically know it's going to be a series when you sit down to write the first book, I would assume.
I would say so.
Yes.
The way this book was, I would say she had a plan.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot more to it because I'm really not understanding exactly how he's back. I mean, I know his energy was out in the air and then she like sucked it in. That was all really cool. I will say that was very original. It was enticing. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So, like, I liked it.
I very much didn't know what was happening at the end, but
yeah. So cool. Kudos. You got me. I want to know what happens.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah,
it's been a while, guys. I'm gonna say sorry every day until I feel like we have it together.
Thank you so much for always returning to listen to us and our funny little rants about these books and how we turn it into a psychology lesson. But I just like to think that that's our charm. So
let us know if you have any feedback. If you have any recommendations. That's one thing I would like.
Yeah,
if there's a book you just
recommendations.
I mean, I know we're all on Book Talk and we're all following. You know, clearly we're all connected in that way. If you're seeing me talk right now, but if there's just something like we have to read that we just need to read right now. We need to change the whole docket. Let us know. I'm very easily swayed. You're dynamic from just like someone different.
Thanks for listening.